All right, listen up. If you're heading out for spring break, airports are having trouble as TSA agents work without pay. The White House sending ICE agents to help. We're going to break down that funding fight in Washington. On the roads, gas prices in Michigan have topped $4. Some are at $5. We're going to show you where you can find the best deals. Plus, a new list is naming the cars that thieves are targeting the most. So our crime and safety expert, Darnell Blackburn, is going to be here with some simple tips to protect your ride.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And thank you for joining us for Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're going to start with the pain at the pump Metro Detroiters are experiencing. Gas prices across the country are nearing the $4 mark, but here in Michigan, we are now past that. Take a look. The average price for a gallon of regular gas is $4.01. That is 9 cents higher than yesterday, 26 cents higher than this time last week, and it's $1.10 higher than this time last month. Going around Metro Detroit, starting in Macomb County, right now, prices there are $3.92 a gallon. That is the same price it was on Friday last week, and it's about 5 cents lower than the national average and 9 cents lower than the state average. Now, in Macomb County, according to Gas Buddy, the SNK station on 8 Mile and Warren has the cheapest gas prices. Prices there are $3.43 a gallon. The SNK on 14 Mile and Fraser is the second lowest at $3.55. And finally, the Marathon on 10 Mile and Warren, prices there are $3.57. Prices in Oakland County are just a little bit higher. The average there is about $3.96 a gallon. That is 1 cent higher than this time on Friday and 5 cents lower than the state average. Now, looking at the cheapest prices we can find in Oakland County, all three are in Royal Oak. The Citgo on Woodward is $3.48, and two Sunoco's, both on Crooks, are $3.49 and $3.57 per gallon. Prices in Wayne are a little lower than Oakland County and the same average price as Macomb County, again at $3.92 a gallon, 4 cents higher than the $3.88 average on Friday. The Sunoco station on North Line Road in Southgate is offering prices of $3.23 a gallon. The Baydoun fuel stop on Allen Road in Allen Park has prices at $3.39 a gallon. And finally, the SNK station on East Davison in Detroit, prices there are $3.43. Finally, in Washtenaw County, prices are the same as they are in Oakland County, about $3.96 per gallon. That's 2 cents higher than the prices in the county on Friday. Now, if you're looking for cheaper prices in Washtenaw County, you're going to have to head to Ypsilanti. The Sheets over on Michigan Avenue, the Speedway on Michigan Avenue, and the Meyer on Carpenter Road all have prices at $3.49 a gallon. Now, by the way, every price we have shown you is the cash price. So if you're going to use your credit card, which the majority of you are, expect to add about 10 cents to each of those prices. All right, taking a live look at the skies this morning with a live look over Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport as immigration and customs enforcement agents are being deployed to 14 airports. Their goal is to help understaffed and unpaid TSA workers during this partial government shutdown. It's too soon to tell how long the agents will be needed as lawmakers struggle to pass a funding bill so TSA workers can get paid. Some progress in Washington, D.C.
On this vote, the ayes are 54, the nays are 45. The nomination of Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma to be Secretary of Homeland Security is confirmed.
The 48-year-old is taking over a department that has not been funded since February 14.
Let's make it very clear. Donald Trump is the one standing in the way of paychecks for TSA workers.
But it appears some progress may be coming on that front as well. Top Republican senators met at the White House Monday night with a proposal aimed towards funding DHS, aside from a small section of the immigration enforcement budget, which analysts say appears to be a concession to Democratic lawmakers.
I'm not getting ahead of the president on what he wants to see in the end. No, he's talking to members of Congress on both sides, so I'll leave that final decision up to the president. But regardless of what happens the next several days, I'm just going to keep doing the mission the president assigned.
But until the stalemate is broken, ICE agents will be at several airports lending assistance to unpaid TSA employees.
I do say that I think they should just fund the Department of Homeland Security, pay those workers. They're here for a reason, to protect us every day, and I don't think ICE agents should really be up there just filling in the hole.
Now, Republican Senator Susan Collins told reporters she is optimistic they're on a good track. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy says the funding of the department, aside from ICE enforcement, would be the easiest way forward. The Save America Act, though, could throw a wrench in negotiations. President Trump does not want a funding deal without the act to tighten voter requirements in federal elections. Now, as of right now, Detroit Metro Airport is not on that list to get help from ICE agents. A live look at there right now. Now, if you're heading over to Metro, the wait times are low. According to the Detroit Metro Airport website, the Evans Terminal has a 5-minute wait time at security. The McNamara Terminal, a little longer. That wait time is about 6 minutes. So if you are traveling in the near future, how do you navigate all of this? Well, we're joined now by Sandra Black, a travel agent with Escapes by Sandra. Thank you so much for joining us here. You know, a lot of people are just confused or concerned about their travel right now. And I guess my question is should they be, or do they just roll with the punches at this point?
I think it is definitely a reason to be concerned. However, travel is not canceled. We just have to travel a bit with a bit more planning.
So, you know, we've been talking about all these delays at the TSA lines, your screening security there. How long should we give ourselves? You know, we talked about 2 hours, 3 hours. I've seen 4 or 5 hours. What's your advice?
My advice for domestic travel is about 3 hours, and international travel, I am advising 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. So why so much longer for international travel?
It takes a bit more to get through all the security checkpoints for international travel. So I like to just advise to make sure you give yourself a bit extra time to get through.
For spring break, it's a big deal for so many people, and most people already have their spring break trip booked. But if they don't, are there any areas that you would suggest maybe avoiding?
I wouldn't necessarily there's any particular areas to avoid. However, I would say try to avoid the peak travel time hours. So peak travel time hours are going to be from 5 to 9 a.m. and 3 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Also, peak travel days, possible travel midday, midweek, or leaving in the evening time as well, and advise extra time for those layovers.
So what is the best day to take a flight?
I would say right now, considering what we're dealing with right now, I would say Tuesday or Wednesday is a really good day, midweek.
Midweek. Okay. All righty. You know, fortunately at DTW, we really haven't seen too many additional delays, which is great. But we have seen them all over the country. So your advice about 3 hours for a domestic flight, does that still hold true for some of those airports that we are seeing these massive lines?
I would probably say some of the massive lines, if you can make that more 4 or 5 hours, absolutely. Give yourself that extra time to get through, and also to be prepared. Have your ID on hand, your passport on hand. Make sure that you're following those TSA guidelines for liquids and electronics. It'll help you get through those lines faster.
You know, it always amazes me. I have to travel frequently for work, so I'm used to it. But there are always those who just haven't done it or haven't done it in a while. What are some of your just recommendations to make sure you are going to get to that checkpoint with a decent amount of time and you don't have to rip open your bags?
I would again say check the website. Make sure that you are clear on what is the requirements, what you're able to bring, what you're not able to bring, and if possible, pack smart. Carry a carry-on bag if you do not have to have checked luggage, and have those essentials in your bag, such as snacks, your extra chargers, extra medications. Oftentimes I see that people will travel with just enough medications for the days that they think they'll be gone. Take some extra medications. Those lines are really long. Extra change of clothes, things like that to be prepared.
I was just having a conversation with Rhonda and Ashley here a little while ago about Florida travel. And that line between should I drive or should I fly? It seems to be moving right now.
Yeah. It's very great line right now.
Yeah.
I completely understand. Absolutely.
What's your guidance there? What do you think is better right now?
I would say if you're local and you're able to drive, I would definitely encourage driving. If you're a bit further away and you want to fly, absolutely, we're still flying. Just give yourself that extra time. And most of all, pack your patience.
You know, something that I think is also often confused is when we look at the flight delays and cancellations. Those, in my opinion, unless I'm wrong, have nothing to do with the TSA lines.
That is correct. Nothing to do with the TSA lines. We've been seeing a lot weather related over the last week and a half or so, but they are not related to the TSA lines from my understanding.
All right, so we should be really checking two things then. We want to check to see what our flight status in case there is some kind of weather delay, or we saw a lot of issues from LaGuardia over the past 24 hours. That's still going to have a domino effect. But then also check the airports not only for DTW but your return flight on most of those have a security checkpoint kind of a timer as well.
Correct. Check the airports, and you can also check the My TSA app as well. You can check there to see what the delays are in the airport that you're either traveling from or traveling to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a My TSA app.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, Sandra, thank you so much for your time this morning and all your insight. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Happy to help.
Take care. Well, a Dearborn Heights teen is looking to solve problems himself. Next, what he's doing to fix a major problem in his city and why the city says thanks, but maybe no thanks. Plus, a live look in Macomb County where neighbors have a chance to share their opinions on a fight over some new power lines in their neighborhoods going through Clinton Township. Welcome back. Let's take a live look in Macomb County where a controversial plan to add more power lines is back in the spotlight. Henry Ford Macomb Hospital says it needs more power, but last summer a plan that took the lines through homeowners' backyards was voted down. So now there's a new route being proposed and homeowners are kind of pushing back on this one. Many say they understand the need for more power, but they want the overhead lines to go elsewhere. Some neighbors suggested Dalcoma Drive. That idea got shut down, but the alternate route for there, so now another idea would be going underground on Dalcoma Drive. For longtime homeowners, they say their neighborhoods don't need more power lines.
There's nothing you can do about it, really. When they make up their minds, they make up their mind.
Now, the company ITC owns the transmission lines, and DTE, who is actually a customer here, requested those additional lines. If ITC does the underground option, it said it would not only be costly, but it would take about a year to a year and a half to complete once approved. The other plan for overhead lines, that would only be about 6 to 8 weeks. So why do we need more power out there? Well, it's again for the hospital. Henry Ford Macomb has had to get creative in getting some power sometimes.
They've been working off generators at times, as well as at times when the power in the system is adequate for them, DT has been supplying them power as well.
All right, now, as you can imagine, there are lots of concerns and questions about these proposals. That QR code on your screen in a moment. You can get more details about the series of public meetings looking for input. In fact, the first public meeting is happening today from noon until 7 p.m. Well, tired of waiting for the city to fix potholes on his street, an 18-year-old in Dearborn Heights took matters into his own hands. He rolled up his sleeves, went to Home Depot, bought the supplies, and patched the pothole himself. This viral video he posted days ago has already racked up hundreds of thousands of views. As Lauren Kostick reports, this video now catching the attention of city leaders.
Well, let me show you the problem. This is Cherry Hill Road right on the border of Dearborn Heights and Inkster, and these are the potholes he fixed the other day. Honestly, doing a pretty good job, and that patchwork now has the whole city talking.
Why is every single road but Cherry Hill getting fixed?
It all started with this video.
Hi, do you guys have asphalt?
18-year-old Ollie Shammy going to the local Home Depot, buying asphalt, and loading it up in his trunk before driving to the corner of Cherry Hill in Beach Daily. He proceeded to fill 2 massive potholes, even improvising with the lid to spread out the mix and smash it down.
They were really bad. I think that one of them was like around this deep.
Local 4 caught up with Ollie, who says his whole goal was to bring awareness to the problem.
I was like, I'm gonna pull out my phone and then like, let's start recording.
And it worked. His video racked up hundreds of thousands of views, including from the Dearborn Heights mayor, who commented, "Thank you for bringing this matter to my attention. Even my mother sent me it on WhatsApp." And it's true, Ollie has become somewhat of a local hero. During our interview alone, he got several shout outs.
Thank you.
The good news, the road is slated to be fixed soon. Dearborn Heights DPW director said the city was allocated federal funds to get the job done.
This one is slated for a full road reconstruction, so it is going to disrupt traffic once it does get started, but I think anybody could agree it's needed.
And as much as he applauds Ollie's ambition, he said he'd much rather have residents report the problem and let the professionals take care of it.
Man, next time call the department. It's not safe to be out there. Even these guys out here, like, yeah.
And because Ollie is so passionate about potholes and honestly pretty good at fixing them, the DPW director encouraged him to apply for a job, saying they are always looking for help. Reporting in Dearborn Heights, Lauren Kostick, Local 4.
Well, he already gave him the reflective jacket, so he's halfway there now, right? Metro Detroit is starting to warm up, but the warmer weather comes with a chance for storms, and guess what? More potholes. Ashley is tracking all of that for us. Plus, America's Rock and Roller Coast will have one less coaster this year. Why a popular ride at Cedar Point has a new classification. All right, taking a live look over in Cedar Point this morning. And this year, when you go to the park, there's going to be one less roller coaster to ride. That's because the park has now reclassified the Pipe Scream, opened back in 2014. It was considered a roller coaster, but now it is in the thrill ride category. If you've been on it, the ride spins and slides back and forth. And when you get up to the top, you get that quick stomach dropping feeling, 43 feet in the air. So that means that Cedar Point now has 18 coasters instead of 19. Stagehand Sean over there, are you okay with this? No. He's not okay with it.
I didn't even know that there were like classifications.
I had no clue.
Right.
I just learned there was a MyTSA app, And now there's classifications of roller coasters.
I mean,
See
your
all the
show-
things you'll learn here on Local 4 Live?
I love it. It's very insightful. And we'll give you a full breakdown of the forecast, too, because you need to know all the little nooks
All
and
of
crannies of it,
them,
because,
yes.
I mean, it just changes by the minute.
And all the potholes you're going to be creating.
No kidding. Yeah, the thaw freeze. Yeah, there's going to be craters out there, not potholes. So yeah, that 24-hour temperature change is colder to start the day, but hey, we're pairing it with sunshine. We'll take that. And we will be warming up as the day rolls on. So you can see some of that sun right below me in some of our sky cams across town. So that's our 24-hour temperature change, but these are the actual air temperatures. So really still either side of 20, but we do have a lot more low to mid 20s out there paired with that sunshine. Clouds roll in this afternoon, but we'll be warmer this afternoon than yesterday. Wind chill readings are still kind of holding on to the teens, so there is a bit of a wind chill factor. It's not, extreme, but we have a light southerly breeze, kind of variable in some spots. Satellite radar showing that we have that upper level system, so that cold front that's up just north of the UP, and that's enough of a disturbance to bring some snow up north. But this is pushing eastward, so we're not going to get that snow heading our way. Now the high pressure is retreating off down to the southeast, which means the clouds will replace those clearer skies. But overall, we will have a seasonal day on tap. So your playground.
Seasonal. See that word? Seasonal.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it sounds better than average, doesn't it? I mean, like average is kind of like, yeah. But I mean, some people might feel about 47.
Right.
So I'm trying to be glass half full. So mostly cloudy skies by this afternoon, 47. But that is better than the 39 we hit for a high yesterday. We didn't get out of the 30s, so we'll take that improvement. And we're dry today, dry, quiet as we head into Wednesday. So even with that little warm up, each and every day will come a storm chance by Thursday. But I would say as far as getting that car washed today, tomorrow, decent days to do it. But if you're really trying to get your money's worth, I mean, I'd wait till after Thursday, because Thursday we have the showers and storms, and then we have a drier stretch behind that. But that was not a typo. We're near 70 on Thursday. But the bottom will fall out before you get too excited about that. Yeah, we'll be about 30 degrees colder on Friday. So it's that weather whiplash that we're used to around here by now. Let's go ahead and look at the timeline as far as our next weather maker. And that will be Thursday. With the warmth comes the rain. And so I would say by mid-afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock, at least with this model data, we're starting to see some rain push in. This isn't quite into our high resolution window yet. So we're going to be fine tuning this within the next day or two. But it does become more robust by late evening. After sunset, this is a snapshot at 11, and you see that heavier rain and the line of storms just south of the state line. So I am not ruling out a few embedded thunderstorms across southeast Michigan, as if that line was to fluctuate just about 50 miles north. I mean, that would definitely put the heart of some of that right over some of our southern communities. It does continue to push south as we roll into the rest of your Friday, but I would even think you might see a snowflake or two fly with that drastic drop of temperatures Friday. It's like, wait, what? Temperature set up today, cooler than average along the East Coast, but a good chunk of the U.S. dealing with above average conditions thanks to that dome of high pressure over the desert Southwest, and that exact high bringing near record heat once again into that region. The warmth, though, does push into our region by the time we get to tomorrow. And then Thursday, it's a marginal level 1 risk across southeast Michigan for severe weather. So the greater risk was that yellow south of the state line. But high near 40 Friday, but at least that drop short-lived. We will be climbing into the 50s by the tail end of the weekend, maybe even 60 by Monday.
So looking at this high of 69 Thursday, is it going to feel that way, or is it going to be like windy and rainy and going to feel colder?
Well, I mean, I think it'll definitely feel warm, but it could be getting windier as that line approaches us, but it's going to be more of that warm spring-like wind. And then, then Friday hits you in the face.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So basically, call in sick on Thursday and spend the morning outside.
Right. There you go.
Got it. Done.
So when Nick and I aren't here, you know, yeah. Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Ash. Well, a new study is out showing that car thefts are down, but could the car that you're driving be the most popular to thieves? Next, our crime and safety expert, Darnell Blackburn, is going to join us for a bow tie style conversation on how you can keep your car safe and out of the hands of a thief. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli with the Local 4 News Update. Today, homeowners in Clinton Township are being asked to weigh in on some plans to install new power lines for Henry Ford Macomb Hospital. It's a story we've been following for more than a year. This is the first of 3 public meetings happening today. You can scan that QR code on your screen for more details on the meeting. Also, another 90 minutes of Local 4 Live coming your way. Are you driving the most commonly stolen car in Michigan? We're going to break down the numbers, and Darnell is going to join us for a conversation on how you can keep your car safe. Also, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. We have a roundtable of guests discussing a new study that shows colon cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in adults under 50. Plus, a major gas mix-up is leaving drivers with some pretty big car trouble. Ashley also has a look at your forecast with some cold temperatures, warm temperatures, and possible storms. Keep it right here on Local 4 and Local 4 Plus.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Are you driving one of the most commonly stolen cars in Michigan? The National Insurance Crime Bureau is out with its list for the past year. Before we reveal them, though, we do have some good news. Across the country, car thefts are down, dropping 23% in 2025. That is the lowest level in decades. We're seeing a similar trend in Michigan with theft down 22%. But it does appear that thieves have a favorite target in Michigan. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was the most stolen car in the state with more than 1,200 thefts in 2025. Coming in second was the Dodge Durango, followed by the Ram 1500, the Chevy Malibu, and the Dodge Charger. So to talk about what you can do to better protect yourself and your ride, I have Darnell Blackburn here. I did notice 4 out of the 5 vehicles on that list are all Stellantis/Chrysler products.
Yes.
That's probably just a coincidence, though.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that the Cherokee has been on the list for a while. But here's the thing. car companies make cars and they sell them.
Right.
After that, they're done.
Right.
You know, I mean, and it's just this is
It's your job to vacuum it.
exactly. It's your job to vacuum it, to keep it clean, and hopefully not get it stolen.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not saying that they're making them easier, but that, you know, thieves will come up with ways to steal your car.
Every single time, right?
The biggest thing from this type of conversation is to talk about hard targets versus soft targets.
Okay.
Leaving your keys in the car, I know it's self-explanatory.
Don't do that.
But I know people who work here because we have a secure parking garage attached to our place. And sometimes they leave their keys in the car, but people can get into secured parking.
Who is that? Name names.
I am not naming names, but we just had a conference. It wasn't the person I was just talking to that is directing us right now. It's not that person. But it was not. But we do this, you know, but nothing is secured. So you have to think about that. Parking your car in a well-lit area. If it's at home, don't park your car on the street. If you got a driveway, park it in the driveway. If you don't have one, do park it under a street light. Park it in front of a camera of some kind. You know, thieves are so creative. I wish they would spend that time doing things productively.
Yeah, right, right.
You know, those are things that we can do because there's really not a lot that you can do to stop a person, although we did have a conversation, you know, off camera at the start of this, talking about what's that thing
the
called?
Club, the old school.
The old school club. And I mean, that's a pretty good.
It works.
It works really good if it'll still fit these newer cars. And,
Right.
you know,
Right.
Something like that is a good thing to do to try to prevent your car from being stolen.
And that really, from my understanding, is a better deterrent. I mean, if somebody were to break in and try to drive your car, they wouldn't be able to. But if they see that, they're not even going to try to break in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unless you have a wallet sitting on your, you know, on the seat or some coins, some money, something like that. Yeah, that's a very good deterrent. And it's something that can stop you. Really, that's what you can do more is just try to deter people by not leaving valuables in the car, not putting your car. I know some people who their cars are so precious to them, they park them, you know, on the back of a lot in a shopping mall or something like that, you know.
The chance of it getting stolen is better than getting dinged.
Bam. This is why I mess with you. I don't even have to say nothing. Look, you read my mind, Monticelli.
We're right there.
Right there. We're
right
here.
there.
But yeah, it's important. And so really just to think about that. And now you saw the list.
Right.
Seeing that list, you may like one of these products, but if you know that you live in an area, you know, that
becomes a target.
Yeah,
right.
It could be an easier target. So think about those.
You know, you talked about the hard versus soft targets. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you do leave your keys in or a wallet or whatever it might be, it becomes a crime of opportunity, right? So a lot of times, at least in my experience, and you know much more than I do, is that somebody might be walking by without the intent of smashing your window, but they see that and they go, well, there's probably $100 in there or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so limit those opportunities. You're right. There's people who have intent to do things, and there's people who are just, coincidentally, they find stuff, or they think they find it,
right.
you know, but it's somebody else's. And so,
yeah,
we just want to limit those things because in the end, ultimately, make sure you got insurance.
Yeah.
Make sure your stuff is that you're covered in case something happens.
And make sure you talk to your insurance company to make sure you've got that right coverage.
Absolutely. We've talked about that a lot.
Okay, so, you know, most people, if they're living, you know, in a subdivision or have their home, are parking in their driveway, right? That's just where you're going to park, unless you've got a garage, which is the safest place to do it. Is there anything I can do to prevent a theft right out in front of my own driveway?
Not necessarily. If somebody's going to take it, they're going to take it. Here's what I will say. I know oftentimes people may park in their driveway. They leave their garage door openers inside their cars.
Oh. Well, don't most people?
A lot of people do. Take it in every night. I know it may be a hassle.
You can smash the window and then get inside.
Absolutely. Then they're in your garage. You know,
or in your home.
In your home if you leave that inner door unlocked. And so thinking about those are things that you have to think about as well. It's like, okay, not just monetary things that are valuable, but something like this, which is a tool to be able to get them access to your garage and possibly in your home.
Does bright lighting on the driveway help? Or cameras, are those a deterrent?
Absolutely. Those are deterrents. Cameras, bright light, absolutely. You know, well-lit areas, cameras, but they may be somewhat of a deterrent, but if somebody wants to take it,
they want that charger.
They're going to try to get it, man. They're going to try to get it.
So baby steps, basically. There are some things, but if you're a target, you're a target.
Yeah, you're a target. But just think about it. Just make it harder for them.
Right.
You know, or not less opportune for them.
Go get the club.
Get the club. And if somebody tries to take it, no, don't do that. No, don't go to the club. Just get the club and put it on the car. Safe.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate you, DB.
Appreciate you.
All right, well, after decades of waiting, a family could soon have some justice. We're going to talk about what a potential jury could hear in the trial for a man accused of kidnapping, sexually assaulting, and killing a woman in Canton Township. But first, a live look at New York City right now. We are going to get more insight into that plane crash that killed 2 pilots and hurt dozens of passengers. Taking a live look in New York City this morning, where the NTSB is now investigating that deadly crash at LaGuardia Airport. 2 pilots were killed and dozens of passengers hurt after an Air Canada jet crashed into a fire truck on the runway. NBC's Sam Brock has more.
An excruciating first look at the collision at LaGuardia Airport. You can see this Air Canada Express regional jet coming down the runway, then about 2/3 of the way down, plowing into a Port Authority rescue and firefighting vehicle. Slamming into it so hard it sheared off the aircraft's nose, killing the 2 pilots.
It just lifted in the air. Holy.
About 40 people were taken to the hospital, including Joe and his fiancée Peyton.
We're jolted forward, but immediately, maybe a second or two later, it felt like a crash. These 2 pilots who unfortunately lost their lives did everything in their power to stop the plane and slow it down at the very last minute when they saw the fire truck there. And
he took this video moments after getting off the plane. You can see people climbing out on the wing. Air traffic control recordings revealed the truck had just requested permission to cross runway 4, trying to make its way to another plane that had just declared an emergency because of an odor on board.
Truck 1 and Company LaGuardia Tower requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
A controller giving the go-ahead.
Truck 1 and Company cross 4 at Delta. Truck 1 and Company crossing 4 at Delta.
Then seconds later, this urgent plea.
Stop. Truck 1, stop.
And later in the recording, this.
We were dealing with an emergency earlier. Nothing.
No, man, you did the best you could.
Jack Cabot was sitting in seat 18A.
The scary moment was when the plane tipped from being, it was nose in the ground on the original photos that you'll see. And then it kind of like the front of the plane fell off, and then that caused the weight imbalance to kind of shoot the plane up. And there was people exiting the plane as that was happening.
The NTSB and FAA both on the ground investigating. As 2 sources tell NBC News, the controller at LaGuardia was doing 2 positions at the time of the accident, managing aircraft in the rainy sky, as well as planes and vehicles on the ground, something that's common later at night with less traffic.
They've been able to at least verify that the cockpit voice recorder was not damaged.
LaGuardia reopening one of its 2 runways this afternoon, but the impact on air travel was massive. More than 700 flights canceled and a flight information board filled with red. As incredible survivor stories surface, like the 2 Port Authority officers driving the fire truck who were expected to make a full recovery, and a flight attendant who was ejected from the plane and found in her jump seat about 300 feet away, according to her daughter.
Now, investigators are clarifying the timeline of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. The sheriff asked neighbors in Tucson to check for security video from January 11th, even though The 84-year-old went missing on January 31st. The sheriff says Google initially told them this Nest security video of a masked man outside of her home was from the 11th. Now, Google says it can't confirm a date that man was seen. The Guthrie family is urging the public to help bring Nancy home. A $1 million reward is being offered. After decades of waiting, a 1989 murder case will soon be heading to trial. But today, a judge drew a hard line on what a potential jury will hear. Buster Robbins is accused of kidnapping, sexually assaulting, and murdering Beverly Wyvell of Canton Township. Eric Erickson has been following this case since Robbins was charged over a year ago.
As the decades-old case moves closer to appearing before a jury, the fight right now, what a potential jury would be able to hear.
Knowing that I believe that this case at this juncture hinges on whether there is some evidence to support that a sexual assault was committed on Beverly.
Beverly Wyvell found dead in 1989 in Superior Township. Her car later found at Griffin Park in Canton. Her keys in the ignition, purse and shoes inside. Prosecutors say shot twice.
She was, shot through her chest as well as through her face.
DNA in 2024 linking Buster Robbins to Wyvell, her family previously telling Local 4.
We're hoping for closure on it, but if he gets out and he gets away with it, there's no closure.
Monday, this judge saying there's evidence of a kidnapping and murder, but there's issues with the sexual assault case.
Based on the circumstances of her life, the circumstances of this murder, it's beyond a reasonable conclusion to infer that this semen got there unconsensually at the time of the murder.
I just don't accept that. What Mr. Ward said respectfully just doesn't carry the weight that he seems to want the court to believe that it does. So what he showed us could be related to an assault prior to her death.
Local 4 also learning more about evidence found on one of Robbins' electronics, child sexually abusive material involving bondage.
The child was alleged to be bound, but there's no facts that the people are putting forward other than a theory at this time that there was bindings or restraints.
This judge banning prosecutors from presenting that evidence to a jury, agreeing with the defense, saying there's no evidence Wyvell was restrained.
That was Eric Erickson reporting. Robbins remains in jail. There are other allegations against him still being investigated as well. A trial for this case is now set to begin on July 20th. A new group wants to fight misinformation related to data centers and show some of the benefits, according to them. The coalition is made up of the Detroit Regional Chamber, the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, and DTE. The group is expected to clear up confusion about what the centers mean for communities, including the potential of new jobs, tax revenue, and power usage. The coalition says these facilities could bring billions in economic development to the state. The warmer spring-like temperatures are bringing a risk of storms to Metro Detroit, so Ashley is going to track when those storms could move in. Plus, let's take a live look in Hawaii right now, where thousands are beginning to clean up after devastating floods. But the risk is not over yet. Now, they're concerned with mudslides. Welcome back. In Hawaii, historic flooding devastating homes and drenching communities. Some areas seeing more than 20 inches of rain. The floodwaters, some of the worst of the state has seen in decades, and now there's a threat of mudslides. NBC's Steve Patterson is there.
Oh, Hawaii reeling, and now the fear of mudslides. Recovering from a days-long deluge, surging floodwaters sweeping through neighborhoods across the Aloha State and ripping away homes like this one, the living room turning into a rushing river. This house blown away by strong winds and falling into the wall of water below.
We need to go. We need to go.
Families finding everything they own underwater. Now communities are cleaning up with their new reality slowly settling in. We met Farron Murnane and her family, who say they had to be rescued on surfboards, their home unrecognizable.
What is it like to see this home now?
It's devastating. This is our family home. And to see it like this, it's destroyed.
As the cleanup continues, some hearsay the local government hasn't been doing enough.
What happened to us was pretty inexcusable. No sirens, no nothing until like 2 in the morning. That was way too late.
Officials hearsay sirens were activated a little after 4 a.m., but residents say that was 5 hours too late.
But the community here is coming together, and the cleanup effort is massive. Neighbors grabbing shovels, grabbing hoses, trying to return communities like this to some sense of normalcy.
You know, what's interesting when they talk about that, Ashley, is that it seems more often than not now when there is some kind of disaster like that, the conversation is we didn't have warnings early enough. These aren't happening early enough. Even when I was in Union City, we were talking about that. It seems like there probably needs to be a larger conversation about the proper way to warn people.
Absolutely. I mean, there definitely can be, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, we want to revisit it.
Yes.
We can be
Revise
making improvements.
it,
Yes,
Yeah.
revise it. And as far as, you know, some of these alerts, I mean, not that one in particular with like the mudslides and stuff like that, but as far as the tornadoes and, you know, our alert system is meant for outdoor use when it comes to the sirens. And so you would hope that folks have the proper alert system set up on their phone, that it will wake you in the middle of the night, but not all of us have our phones set up that way. And so, yeah, they're definitely, with it, just how evolving technology is, we need to definitely revisit that.
And the opposite side of that conversation is, I believe in Ann Arbor or that area, they're looking at getting rid of some of their sirens and moving to an all-mobile system. So which one's the right answer? In my book, just make them all work.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you were going, if one siren saves one life, then it was worth it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the more alerts you can have, the better, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't do the budgets though, so.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, neither do I. But luckily, we're not looking at a severe threat today. That could change as we head into your Thursday, as storm chances are looking a little more likely. I think that we dodge the worst of it to our south as of right now, but model data can change as we get into this window of today to Thursday. But we're dry and seasonal today. Now, we will get some increasing clouds as the day rolls on, so soak up the sun while you can, but we have warmer days ahead. So we have that to look forward to. And we're talking, I don't know if I want to use the word extreme warmth, but definitely well above average Thursday, and that will clash with the system rolling in, and that brings that severe threat and a big cool down as we head into Friday. So the temperature change has been a downward swing from 24 hours, but it's not the tail of the whole day, as we actually will be warmer this afternoon compared to yesterday. So right now we are in the upper teens to mid-20s across town. Really, actually, our only teen now is in Ann Arbor. We have more 20s on the map than anything, and even 32 in Grosse Ile, but it feels more like 22 there because of the wind chill. So we still have a little bit of a wind chill factor. But this has been a roller coaster ride so far this month. Every color there you can see on the calendar. And so today will probably end up being shaded more of that gray, which would indicate near average. But then the next couple days will be above average before another blue day by Friday as we go well below. I mean, this is probably a better illustration of the roller coaster, the ups and the downs. And it's weather whiplash at its finest. And so here we are, satellite and radar. High pressure retreating down to the southeast, so that will allow for more of the cloud cover to build in as the day rolls on. You see it coming from that system that's bringing snow up north. I don't think we see a whole lot of that, but we will have more clouds as the afternoon rolls on with a high of 47. Car wash forecast today, tomorrow, dry, calm conditions. but don't get the car wash Thursday. You'll regret it. We have the rain and storm chances later in the day. And so here's a look at how that shakes out as of right now. We have the chance for some rain to develop, I would say, by mid-afternoon, and then the stronger rain showers and potential thunderstorms will be probably after sunset. This is a snapshot at 11 p.m. Now, the bulk of that line stretching from pretty much like Lake Erie down south all the way into the central part of Illinois. So I think that we could dodge the worst of it, but if that shifts with more high-resolution data over the next couple days, well, then that could be a little more impactful for our southern communities. And then, boy, I mean, it's going to feel like we went right back into winter Friday with that drop in temperatures. So today, below average along the East Coast, but you see a lot of warmth off from the plains to the west. It's because of that high pressure over the desert Southwest, bringing near record heat again today. I mean, they've been in a stretch of days like that, but that warmth does start to push a little eastward with that high as we head into tomorrow, and that brings us our above average conditions across the Great Lakes. As far as that severe threat Thursday, this is new today. Storm Prediction Center giving us that marginal level 1 risk across much of southeast Michigan, level 2 risk just along and south of the state line. So we'll keep a close eye on it. Stay with your forewarned weather team, but hey, near 70 isn't too bad. Now 40 might be, but then we're back to either side of 50 this weekend with a 60-degree temperature to start next week.
Severe weather, maybe. Severe potholes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
That's a guarantee.
Yes.
Thanks, Ash. Well, you know, when I saw this next story in the rundown, I said, homework skipping? Yeah, some people do that, but physical therapy homework, that's a problem when you skip that one because it does not end when you leave the clinic. Coming up next, the one key thing researchers say most patients are not doing at home and how that can severely hurt your recovery. Welcome back, everybody. It happens in a split second. A fall, a twist, a wrong move. You start physical therapy expecting to heal, but for many, recovery stalls after they leave the clinic. As Karen Drew is showing us, a new survey says it finds the problem is what patients are not doing when they get home.
Purity Snelling is on a mission.
I want to live to be 103, and I know I have to take care of myself.
Which led her to knee replacement. But instead of more mobility, Purity faced constant pain.
I was afraid to walk.
It's been this right one.
She thought her weekly sessions with physical therapist Kyle Smith would be enough.
I did not realize that Kyle knew I was not putting my best foot forward.
But if we don't get that feedback from the patient, it's hard for us as physical therapists to adjust the program.
A new survey from Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center finds the majority of those assigned at-home physical therapy, 3 of every 4 patients, do not complete their daily homework. The top 2 reasons: forgetting and not having enough time. As Smith explains, it comes down to simple math.
The 1 to 3 hours that you spend in physical therapy per week kind of pales in comparison to the 168 hours we have in a given week. And so that 1 to 3 hours of time that you're physically in the clinic is probably not enough to make big changes in the grand scheme of things.
Purity admits she was initially skeptical of PT homework.
I was not a believer of it. I cannot tell you that I was. I did not do what I was supposed to do. I did not do it in a timely manner. I did not. But I'm just grateful that knowing those people didn't give up on me.
If a patient can understand the why behind their pain, behind their dysfunction, they're hopefully going to be motivated to do the things that we have them do both in and out of the PT clinic.
If I'm watching TV, I'm gonna do some stretches. If I'm laying in my bed, I'm moving this way, that way, because it's nonstop. It's nonstop. You're gonna have to work and work and work. Homework is a part of life now. Each day, yes, I have a little pain here and there, but it's not lasting. I'm going to continue my therapy, I'm going to continue my homework, and I'm going to get better each and every day.
Smith finds patients are more likely to do their at-home exercises if it fits into their existing routine.
Working on balance and you're standing on one leg, hey, let's do this while you're brushing your teeth at night. Do we have an extra 5 minutes either before or after you walk your dog that you could do your exercises?
To build consistency, he keeps Purity's exercises short and simple and sets small, achievable milestones.
When we think about recovery, strength building, mobility, it takes a lot more time than people often realize.
So Smith links patients' homework to their larger life goals.
My grandbaby will be up walking and running.
Now Purity can keep up.
But that homework can get you up on your feet.
Becoming more pain-free with every assignment.
And that was Karen Drew reporting for us. Studies find patients who do not complete their at-home exercises are more likely to face a prolonged recovery and have an increased risk of setbacks. If you're struggling, talk to your physical therapist about which exercises are most important and how to work those into your daily routine. All right, we're going to take a short break here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Next, a roundtable of guests discussing the importance of screening, and a new study is saying colon cancer is the #1 cancer death for adults under 50. More news, more weather, more Local 4 Live coming up next. All right, so gas prices here in Metro Detroit are now topping $4 on average, and we've seen prices about $5 at one gas station in the area. We're going to help you search for some of the cheapest prices near you and an important conversation about a disease that is claiming the lives of more younger adults. We're talking about colon cancer with a group of people who are trying to raise that awareness. And later, a program that pays new moms in expanding into Macomb County. We're going to tell you where and how you can get that help.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome to Local 4 Live on your Tuesday. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're going to start this hour with another overnight jump in gas prices. We are now topping $4 on average across Metro Detroit. The average price for a gallon of regular gas is now $4.01. That is 9 cents higher than yesterday. It's more than a quarter higher than this time last week, and it's $1.10 higher than this time last month. Take a look at this. We found gas prices topping $5 near Metro Airport. The sign at this BP read $5.35 for a regular, and that's the cash price, $5.44 if you're paying with credit. Drivers we talked to could not believe it.
Man, you know it's messed up. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's probably time for us to go back in time and get us a horse, tie a duck to a truck, and, make it do what it do. Because with these prices, ain't nobody gonna be going nowhere.
Kevin is so right. All right, so where can you get some cheaper gas? Let's take you county by county. In Macomb County, according to Gas Buddy, the SNK station on 8 Mile and Warren has the cheapest gas prices. There is $3.43 a gallon. The SNK on 14 Mile and Fraser is the second lowest at $3.55. And finally, the Marathon on 10 Mile and Warren, prices there are $3.57 a gallon. In Oakland County, all three of the cheap ones are in Royal Oak. The Citgo on Woodward is $3.48, and two Sunoco's, both on Crooks, are $3.49 and $3.57 per gallon. In Wayne County, the Sunoco station on North Line Road in Southgate, they've got it for $3.23 a gallon. The Baydoun fuel stop on Allen Road in Allen Park, prices at $3.39 a gallon. And finally, the SNK on East Davison in Detroit, $3.43 a gallon. All right, so if you plan on traveling for spring break, be prepared for the possibility of long security lines when you return home to Detroit. Unpaid TSA agents are quitting and calling out sick as this month-long Homeland Security shutdown drags on. ICE agents are now patrolling some of the country's busiest airports, but there are some signs that a deal may be on the horizon. Alice Barr is in Washington with these overnight developments.
Good morning. A handful of Republican senators walked out of a White House meeting with President Trump sounding optimistic there could be an agreement on Homeland Security funding in what would mark a big shift from weeks of stalemate. Overnight, a potential breakthrough to break up those massively long airport security lines after a small group of Senate Republicans met with President Trump on a plan to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Alabama Senator Katie Britt saying a solution may be at hand.
I am going to be working through the night, would be my guess. So hopefully we can figure out how I'm going.
For more than a month, Democrats have refused to put more money into ICE and Border Patrol without major changes to immigration enforcement operations following the fatal shootings of 2 American citizens. They're pushing to separate that money from the rest of DHS to fund agencies like FEMA and TSA now.
All Donald Trump has to say is yes.
President Trump has been pressuring Republicans to tie DHS funding to stiffer voter ID laws under the Save America Act.
Don't make any deal on anything unless you include voter ID.
That's a non-starter for Democrats, and now overnight, the Senate's top Democrats saying
Both sides are talking.
the pressure is mounting, with security lines growing by the day as TSA agents working without pay yet again quit and call out in record numbers.
You couldn't find the end of the line because there was just people everywhere.
And now at more than a dozen of the nation's busiest airports, ICE agents coming in for backup security, checking IDs and handling crowd control, according to a senior ICE official. But without training on airport X-ray machines, it's unclear how much they can do to clear the lines and the growing frustration. Two sources familiar with the talks say if ICE is split off from the rest of DHS funding, Republicans would then fund the agency through a separate reconciliation bill that doesn't require votes from Democrats. All as the new Secretary of Homeland Security, GOP Senator Markwayne Mullin, is set to be sworn in today. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, so as of right now, Detroit Metro Airport is not on the list to get help from ICE agents. Let's take a look at what you can see if you're heading to Metro Airport today. Wait times, fortunately, are low, according to the Detroit Metro Airport website. The Evans Terminal has a 3-minute wait time at security. McNamara Terminal, a little longer, also about 3 minutes, but it kind of pushes back and forth. Earlier on Local 4, we talked to Sandra Black, a travel agent with Escapes by Sandra, about just how much extra time people should be giving themselves.
My advice for domestic travel is about 3 hours, and international travel, I am advising 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay, so why so much longer for international travel?
It takes a bit more to get through all the security checkpoints for international travel, so I like to just advise to make sure you give yourself a bit extra time to get through.
For spring break, it's a big deal for so many people, and most people already have their spring break trip booked. But if they don't, are there any areas that you would suggest maybe avoiding?
I wouldn't necessarily there's any particular areas to avoid. However, I would say try to avoid the peak travel time hours. So peak travel time hours are going to be from 5 to 9 a.m. and 3 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Also, peak travel days, cancelable travel midday, midweek, or leaving in the evening time as well, and advise extra time for those layovers.
Now, according to Sandra, the best day to take a flight is midweek, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, to avoid the longest waits. Well, leaders in Bloomfield Township are honoring the first responders of the Temple Israel attack. More than 600 first responders ran to that scene on March 12th. More than 100 were treated for smoke inhalation for running into the fire to get kids and the staff to safety. At last night's board meeting, leaders were saying that dozens of the first responders weren't even working. They weren't on duty at the time. Leaders recognized all of those who answered that call to help.
This event challenged every aspect of our organization: training, communication, leadership, and composure under pressure. What we witnessed was our department responding precisely as our community expects and deserves.
Now, if you're interested in supporting Temple Israel, you can make a donation on the Temple's website. There's a link on our website over at clickondetroit.com. All right, now to an important discussion on a growing health concern here in the U.S. March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. A new American Cancer Society study shows that colon cancer is now the leading cause of cancer deaths in adults under 50. It is the only major cancer where mortality is still rising in younger adults. This year alone, there will be nearly 159,000 new cases of colon cancer in the U.S. That's about 440 people diagnosed every single day. Just last month, actor James Van Der Beek died from that disease at the young age of 48. So we wanted to gather a group of people who are working to raise awareness and advocate for preventative measures. So we're joined now by Britta Wolford. She is a mom of 3 and a colon cancer survivor. Thank you for being here. A familiar face you might recognize, Christy McDonald, a speaker, moderator, and a former anchor. You lost your husband, Jamie, because of colon cancer. And we also have the doctor himself here, Dr. Haro Isvari. He is the chief of colorectal surgery over at Corewell Health. Thank you all for being here. So many topics, so little time, but we'll get to all of it eventually. It seems, in my opinion, and you're the experts, I'm not, that maybe one of the #1 issues here is just awareness, that it is affecting more and more younger people, and the younger people don't know about it. Is that a fair statement?
I think so. I mean, you see it every day.
The facts show it. And, over the last 10 years, we saw that the rates were rising in younger people. And then it didn't come as a surprise. Now it's the #1 cause of cancer death in men and women under age 50. And that's just happened, came out in the news just a couple months ago. So it is the #1 cause of death.
When you think of the age, though, and when the younger people, maybe they have signs and symptoms, they think, oh, I'm supposed to be screened when I'm 45 or 50. Right. This can't be happening to me. But again, being able to talk about it is happening younger and younger, and to be aware of those signs and symptoms.
Well, and that age just dropped. It was, the recommended age for screening was 50, down to 45. I know your husband, Jamie, was very young when he found out.
Yeah, he was diagnosed at age 47. And so when he went in to get screened, it was when the age was still at 50, and they just dropped that a couple of years ago. So it wasn't even on our radar that something like this could happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So Britta, what is your story?
Yeah, I was 44.
So even younger.
Even younger, and I started having some symptoms that were concerning. So I took it seriously. I'm very lucky that I took it seriously and sought out medical care and got my scope and was diagnosed just after my 45th birthday with colon cancer. Yeah.
So my understanding is that you caught it so early.
Did.
And some of the polyps they found were non-cancerous. So that was great. So you caught it so early that you didn't have to go through chemo.
I didn't. It was, Dr. Wasbury maybe can speak to that. I had adenocarcinoma of the colon. So
Britta was lucky. She was the earliest stage possible, and no other therapy was required. But in younger people, the trend is they present at a more advanced stage. So Britta is one of the lucky ones that sought out treatment, early, and because otherwise, if you catch it early, you're going to have good outcomes for the most part.
Are there any medical reasons that this is trending so much younger?
Well,
that's the $1 million question.
Well, if medical reasons or lifestyle potentially, and the thought is, and nobody really knows, the thought is our lifestyles, or lack of a good lifestyle, poor diets, processed food, are creating inflammatory responses to our gut, which make the gut vulnerable to colon cancer. So they think it is our current day lifestyle that may be part of the reason.
Okay, so right now the recommended age for screening is 45.
Correct.
What do you think it should be?
That brings, you want...
Put you on the spot right now.
I think there was a big advance to get it down 5 years. It would be wonderful we get it down to 40. But the key is, even if you're not part of the screening age, if you notice symptoms, if there's a change in your bowel habits, if there's some blood, if there's something that doesn't seem right, don't blow it off. Everybody likes to say, oh, it's just hemorrhoids. Don't say that. Seek attention, even if you're not in the screening age group.
And I think that that's the whole thing. We talk about signs and symptoms is the stigma of really talking about what's happening to our bodies. If you have a change in bowel habits, if you see blood, really don't say, well, this is going to go away, and advocate for yourself. I think the pushing and saying, you know what, I might be young, but this is where we need to go, for people to understand that it can happen to them at a younger age and to be aware of what's happening in their bodies.
Well, I knew you were going to bring that up, because that's been one of your key talking points, is that this is not something that we want to talk about. We don't talk about our bowel movements with our friends. We don't talk about that I'm constipated or I'm having a hard time.
Right, and let's be honest, no one's like, get me to the colonoscopy. This is so exciting.
I cannot wait.
You're taking a day off of work, you've got to do the prep, and people are like, I'm really squeamish about the prep. And what I tell them is, yeah, it's not great, but guess what? I don't want you to have to walk down the road that Jamie and our family did, fighting cancer and undergoing treatment. But by the way, if you find it early, this is a treatable cancer. So I'm saying to people, don't be afraid. Don't be squeamish about it. Advocate for your health, advocate for your family, know your family history, and get a plan in place. Oh, I love that you just put video of him up there, that handsome devil.
What a good-looking guy.
What a good-looking guy. You know what?
He's a good guy.
And Dr. Wasbury was one of our doctors and walked with us on this road. I will say that, Jamie and I had a lot of time in waiting rooms, in hospitals, after procedures, waiting for the next thing to come. And he always said, when I get through this, I want to advocate, because sometimes it's hard to be an advocate when you're in the middle of a storm.
Sure.
And so when he died, and I said, what's the one thing that I can do? One thing I can do is be his voice, and to be able to tell people, look, know your body, understand what your family history is, and be on this, because it is happening to people younger and younger. James Vanderbeek, it takes your breath away. Chadwick Boseman, it's happening, and I don't want anyone else to have to be in this position and walk this road.
If I remember the timeline correctly, Jamie announced his diagnosis and what he was going through on the air, and it wasn't that much longer until he passed.
Yeah, and that's some of the things that I look back now in these 5.5 years. We kept this diagnosis private. Nobody knew. He went on the radio every day. It wasn't embarrassing for him. For him, he needed to be present in where he was right now instead of thinking about cancer all the time. And so that helped him, I think, live as best he could. But he went on the air on a Monday at the end of July. We had actually just been in the hospital. And he revealed what his diagnosis was, and he died on that Saturday. So it's one of those things that it moved quickly for him, but he was so happy in the end that he was able to share what he had gone through, and to be able to start to give people awareness. And I hear from people still every week that they get colonoscopies because of Jamie. They remember his message, and they're telling other people. So therefore, I'm like, we're doing it. We're still.
I hear the same stories, specifically with Jamie. I do.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk more about the shock factors, the embarrassment factors, even though there shouldn't be one, and not to put you on the spot, but the doctors that are doing things wrong. All right? When we come back. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Here, our panel of experts talking about Colon Cancer Awareness Month. I wanted to talk to both of you, Britta and Christy here, about that shock factor, because you're so young. Jamie was so young. How did you process that, and how did you talk to your friends and family about this?
Yeah, I think it took me a while to really accept the fact that this is happening to me at such a young age. And then it was all about, okay, what's the next step, right? I have to get testing. They're going to do a CAT scan. They're going to do more blood work to see where it's gone. Because I'm a nurse by background, so my first thought is, I know what cancer does. It metastasizes. Has it gone anywhere else? What's my prognosis? I have 3 young girls, so it was a hard pill to swallow knowing I still had young kids, and what was my prognosis? That was where my brain went.
There, as you mentioned, Christy, is still such a stigma surrounding this because people don't talk about this. How did you bring it up with your family? I mean, you're a nurse, so you're kind of used to this kind of thing anyway, but is it a conversation that, you tell your mother and sisters and, go get this rod up your
I'm a nurse by background, so I do know certain symptoms that could happen, and I really had a gut intuition that something wasn't quite right and there was changes, and I urge other people, if they do have that gut thought that something could be wrong, really to be your own advocate and make sure you get checked out, because I'm grateful that I did.
Right. Speaking of advocacy, Christy, I know for you and your family, especially with what Jamie had gone through, it seems like this is your #1 mission now.
It is. I mean, it's one of those things that it's easy for me to be able to use my voice to do this, and because I know that he would have if he were still here. Especially, he was really young in a lot of the waiting rooms in the doctor offices that we were at. He wasn't the typical looking colon cancer patient. So that's what I really wanted to impress upon people, is that that can happen younger. But as for the diagnosis, we thought that he had food poisoning one weekend from going to a Christmas party in December of 2018, and so his doctor said, well, why don't we just, get a colonoscopy? Maybe you have IBS, maybe you have, colitis, something, because he was running a little anemic, which is also a hallmark.
Yes, something to consider, yeah.
When you have blood work done. And then, he went in for the colonoscopy. It ended up taking longer than it was supposed to. I remember sitting in the waiting room and waiting for him, and they were still back in there. And when they brought me back, they're like, we found a mass. It's going to have to come out. A CT scan a couple days later revealed that not only a mass in his colon, but that the cancer had spread all over his liver and in his abdominal peritoneal area. And, when you have a staggering diagnosis of stage 4, then that's when we saw you as well.
Yeah.
And about what are our options and what can we do from here. Again, it's that hallmark of some of these diagnoses are coming for people who are younger, already advanced, because of just time.
It seems like that probably is the scariest part at this point, is that it's coming younger and more advanced. So
that's true.
I don't want to say that time is shorter, but it seems like that might be the case for many people.
Yeah, it may be a more aggressive form, and Jamie's an example of people do present it more advanced. Britta is early stage, and that's not always a norm, but lucky.
It's wonderful,
and both in common to the two of you and your husband was anemia, a low blood count, and you don't know what you don't know. So there may be nothing going on. Most people are asymptomatic. But if there's any changes, you'll listen to your head and move forward with it.
Yeah. I want to give you a soapbox here. A couple articles I read talked a lot about how physicians will often overlook these symptoms and not tie them to possible colon cancer. Is that true? And can you yell at them, please?
Yeah, certainly, as a specialist, I get a skewed population, so we take everything seriously, and it's always like it's not just hemorrhoids, but the general public has to be aware of that. They have to be aware not to back off on it, and physicians themselves have to take any symptoms seriously, even if it is a young person. And the numbers don't lie. It's not an old person's disease only. Younger people are getting it, and both patients and physicians have to be in tune with that.
So for those who are watching, who are really now understanding that this can affect a much younger population, because we really don't know why it's skewing that way, are there any studies? Do we think we'll have an answer to that?
There are things besides the asymptomatic people with symptoms, people with family histories. Genetics plays a big role in it. But a lot of it we think is lifestyle, that if I always kind of say what's good for your heart's good for your gut, the high fiber diets, avoiding the processed foods, red meat, smoking, drinking, all the things we're told to avoid are true for the gut as well.
If you would like someone to take one thing away from watching this panel, what would it be?
Get screened. Get screened. Know your family history. Yeah. Talk to your doctor. If you're 35 years old and you're sitting and watching us right now and be like, well, I'm 35, I don't need to worry about it yet. Your next, general checkup, be like, I want to start to plan. So just so you know, doctor, this is on my radar. When should I be going in for this? Just be aware of it and understand that, it's out there.
Yeah. He said 40, you're down to 35 now. By the time this is over, we're going to be at 20.
25, exactly. Exactly.
Britta, what about you?
I would say you really just have to be your own advocate for your own health. And, 45 is a busy season of life. I've got young children. I'm in my career. You can just say, I'll do this later. Really take it seriously. Be your own advocate. Make your own appointment like you do your kids. And so that would be.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Take care of yourself. It's so we put so many other things in front of us sometimes as parents in this busy stage of life. That's a really good point. Is to advocate for yourself. Take care of yourself.
Not to touch on an emotional nerve for you, but was there ever a time where Jamie was kicking himself, saying, "I wish I would have"?
You know what? Not really, because it was so shocking to us.
Right.
I mean, we talk about what lifestyle factors are, and we ate really healthy. He did CrossFit, for God's sake. I mean, so this kind of really hit us out of the blue. So we don't know where, but the minute that something was off, we did get it checked out. Right. And if we had not, because he was like, it should be fine. I feel fine, and he looked fine. Right. I was the one who said, You got to keep, no, we have to go in. We're just going to do it just to check it off the box because I'm a little bit of an over worrier, you know.
Oh, no, not
me?
you at all.
Not me.
No.
Yeah, so.
And doing that, you know, prolonged his time with us and gave him the opportunity to be on the air and be such an amazing advocate.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, the three of you. We really appreciate your time today.
Good to be here, Nick.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a short break here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, all the headlines you've missed and a check on your forecast.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, here's a look at your out-the-door forecast on this Tuesday, which will be a bit more seasonal for this time of year. So increasing clouds as the day rolls on, but we have even warmer days ahead. So certainly improvement from yesterday, but we're going to tag on nearly 10 degrees every day through Thursday, and then the temperatures will fall drastically by the tail end of the work week. But that's because of some storm chances Thursday that then usher in a much colder air mass. Recapping, you can see all the different colors on the calendar indicating several below average days, more above average days though than below, with even a couple record-breaking days back on March 9th and 10th. And so yesterday did come in below average. Today will be a bit more seasonal, might look more like this, that gray, and then the days ahead through Thursday will be orange before we then fall back below average. So it's the roller coaster ride, and I mean, it's illustrated perfectly here with the next 7 days ahead, but at least those cold snaps are very short-lived. And so we've had high pressure throughout the morning, and that has brought us some clear skies, but that does get replaced with some cloud cover later in the day. 47 for the afternoon high, only 2 degrees shy of the average of 49, but it's a dry day, rather quiet. And so with the drier conditions, both today and tomorrow, great car washing days. Will be warmer tomorrow with a high of 58, and then we flirt with 70 on Thursday. But the red light Thursday is because of afternoon shower and storm potential. And so for today, some snow up north stays up north, and then we will be dry over the next about 48 hours. But going into Thursday, we have the chance for rain arriving at this point looking like mid-afternoon and sticking with us into the evening. Now this becomes much more robust just south of the state line late evening after sunset, snapshot at 11 p.m. Then on the back edge of this, as colder air starts to usher in, you might even see some of those little light sprinkles on the tail edge of this turn into a few wet snowflakes or a mix. That would be Friday morning before we then start to dry things out. But it is a rapid drop in temperatures come Friday. Our temperature setup for today, East Coast dealing with below average conditions, but a good chunk of the U.S. above average, and that's all coming off of that stronger high pressure down in the desert southwest, which in turn is bringing us near record heat once again throughout that portion of the country. Into the plains for today, about 15 to 25 degrees above average. But that warmth will push eastward heading into Wednesday. So thanks to that ridge and the jet stream, we will have above average conditions across the Great Lakes tomorrow. Let's talk more about Thursday because that's our next weather maker as mentioned, and we have a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather across southeast Michigan, but that slight level 2 risk just pushing just north of the state line, that could clip portions of Lenawee County. And so we will continue to keep a very close eye on how that system develops. If it pushes just 50 miles north, that would have a bigger impact on our southern communities. So we'll keep that chance for showers and storms in the forecast Thursday near 70. We fall to about 40 for the afternoon high on Friday. The 7-day forecast will continue to be a teeter-totter either side of 50 this weekend and near 60 again by Monday.
Welcome back. Which fruits and vegetables are more likely to be covered in pesticide residue at the grocery store? We're getting an idea from the annual Dirty Dozen report from the health advocacy organization, the Environmental Working Group. They say produce like spinach, grapes, and strawberries carry the highest level of potentially harmful pesticides. Peaches, cherries, apples, potatoes, and blueberries also made that list. The report also found 60% of all samples contain PFAS, also known as those forever chemicals, as the cleanest produce. That group found pineapple, sweet corn, and avocados were the least contaminated. The program giving new moms money is expanding to 3 Metro Detroit communities. RX Kids gives eligible parents $1,500 during pregnancy and $500 a month for a baby's first 6 months. It was founded by Dr. Mona Hanna and reaches thousands of babies every year. On April 1st, the program will roll out to families in Mount Clemens, Centerline, and Montmorency County. The program is already helping Detroit families. You can learn more about its impact and how to apply on our website at clickondetroit.com. Well, thousands of Oakland County residents are getting their medical debt erased. It is part of the county's partnership with Undo Medical Debt. More than $6 million of debt has been eliminated using funds from the Federal American Rescue Plan Act. The county works with participating debt holders to identify people eligible for debt relief. Thousands of residents benefiting from this latest round of funding will get a letter in the mail. Well, a plan to add more power lines in Macomb County is getting some pushback. We're going to dig into that controversy, and we're going to go to New York City, where we're getting new insight into the moments leading up to a deadly crash involving a plane and a fire truck at LaGuardia Airport.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you so much for watching on your Tuesday. We're going to start at LaGuardia Airport, where the NTSB is now investigating a deadly crash between that plane and a fire truck. 2 pilots were killed, dozens were hurt after an Air Canada jet collided with that fire truck on the runway. And now we're learning more about what happened in the minutes leading up to the crash. NBC's Sam Brock has more.
An excruciating first look at the collision at LaGuardia Airport. You can see this Air Canada Express regional jet coming down the runway, then about 2/3 of the way down, plowing into a Port Authority rescue and firefighting vehicle. Slamming into it so hard it sheared off the aircraft's nose, killing the 2 pilots.
It just lifted in the air. Holy.
About 40 people were taken to the hospital, including Joe and his fiancee Peyton.
We're jolted forward, but immediately, maybe a second or two later, it felt like a crash. These 2 pilots who unfortunately lost their lives did everything in their power to stop the plane and slow it down at the very last minute when they saw the fire truck there. And
he took this video moments after getting off the plane. You can see people climbing out on the wing. Air traffic control recordings revealed the truck had just requested permission to cross runway 4, trying to make its way to another plane that had just declared an emergency because of an odor on board.
Truck 1 and company LaGuardia Tower requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
A controller giving the go-ahead.
Truck 1 Company, cross for Delta.
Truck 1 and Company crossing for Delta.
Then seconds later, this urgent plea.
Stop, 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 Truck 1, stop, stop, stop.
And later in the recording, this.
We were dealing with an emergency earlier. Nothing.
No, man, you did the best you could.
Jack Cabot was sitting in seat 18A.
The scary moment was when the plane tipped from being, it was nose in the ground on the original photos that you'll see. And then it kind of like the front of the plane fell off, and then that caused the weight imbalance to kind of shoot the plane up. And there was people exiting the plane as that was happening.
The NTSB and FAA both on the ground investigating. As two sources tell NBC News, the controller at LaGuardia was doing two positions at the time of the accident, managing aircraft in the rainy sky, as well as planes and vehicles on the ground, something that's common later at night with less traffic.
They've been able to at least verify that the cockpit voice recorder was not damaged.
LaGuardia reopening one of its two runways this afternoon, but the impact on air travel was massive. More than 700 flights canceled and a flight information board filled with red. As incredible survivor stories surface, like the two Port Authority officers driving the fire truck who are expected to make a full recovery, and a flight attendant who was ejected from the plane and found in her jump seat about 300 feet away, according to her daughter.
All right, that was Sam Brock reporting. Let's take a live look in Macomb County now, where a controversial plan to add more power lines is back in the spotlight. Henry Ford Macomb Hospital says it needs more power, but last summer, a plan that took the lines through homeowners' backyards was voted down. Now there is a new plan being proposed, and homeowners are pushing back. Many say they understand the need for more power, but they want the overhead lines to go elsewhere. Neighbors suggested Dalcoma Drive, but that idea got shot down as well. But now there's an alternate route, putting those lines underground on Dalcoma Drive. For longtime homeowners, they say their neighborhoods do not need more power lines.
There's nothing you can do about it. You know, when they make up their minds, they make up their mind.
Now, ITC owns the transmission lines, and DTE is a customer in this case, and they requested those additional lines. If ITC does the underground option, it's saying that they would not only be costly, but take about a year to 18 months to complete once approved. The original proposal for overhead lines would be between 6 to 8 weeks. So why the need for more power? Well, we're told Henry Ford Macomb Hospital has had to get creative in sourcing power at times.
They've been working off generators at times, as well as at times when the power in the system is adequate for them, DT has been supplying them power as well.
Now, people have had lots of concerns and questions about this. We're going to put up a QR code there on your screen to give you more information about the series of public meetings that are happening. In fact, today is the first public meeting and goes from noon until 7 p.m. So just scan that code right there for more information. Well, a judge is limiting evidence against a man accused of killing a woman in 1989. Buster Robbins charged with Beverly Wyvil's rape and murder in Washtenaw County. On Monday, the judge ruled evidence of child abuse materials found on his devices will not be allowed at trial. The judge also limited some evidence related to Wyvil being sexually assaulted. The trial is set to begin on July 20th. Canton Township police are looking for the Good Samaritans who helped the victims of a violent crash on Ford Road last week. A wrong-way driver slammed into a semi-truck near I-275 last Wednesday, starting a fire. 9 people were hurt, including 4 officers who were pulling victims from that wreckage. If you helped at that scene or know somebody who did, please contact the Canton Township Police Department. Well, an issue last week now has phones at nearby auto shops ringing off the hook, all because Meijer says regular gas got mixed with diesel at the Meijer station over on Groesbeck in Clinton Township. Meijer says people who filled up there between Tuesday and Thursday last week are at risk. The company is actively reaching out to them. Our Damon Fernandez talked to some drivers scrambling to get their cars fixed.
Mondays around Vans Auto Service on Groesbeck are typically busy, and there's a big reason. Workers say their phones are ringing off the hook right now.
Today, especially, the phone is not stop ringing with bad gas issues.
That's right. The auto shop says customers are constantly calling about bad gas. Fuel sold from this Meijer gas station just a few blocks down the road at 40445 South Groesbeck.
Today, I think I have 12 cars right now here with that issue.
Meijer is blaming the error on its third-party fuel providers, saying they mix diesel in the regular unleaded and mid-grade tanks.
Last week, St. Patrick's Day, I filled up
Spent $83.
Daryl Clay is among those who filled up here last week. He says his brand new truck began misfiring and acting up.
Well, the symptoms I've noticed are the rumbling, hesitation on acceleration, and a little bit of smoke out of the tailpipe.
And he's not alone. We ran into other customers experiencing car problems after filling up at this Meijer.
I was driving and just car started acting weird, not accelerating right, whatnot, and just felt off. So then I got the email and it made a lot of sense.
So Meijer emailed you?
Mm-hmm.
And what they say to you?
That the gas was insufficient fuel or something, and later found out it was mixed with the diesel.
In its alert to consumers, Meijer says the error potentially impacts anyone who filled up at this location between 6 a.m. Tuesday, March 17th and 1 p.m. Thursday, March 19th. Meijer says it's reimbursing customers for their expenses due to this issue, yet repair costs are mounting.
They need to get that together and make sure everything is taken care of. This is very much of an inconvenience. It definitely is.
In Clinton Township, Damon Fernandez, Local 4.
Damon, thank you much. Coming up next, we're going to reveal the car most likely to be targeted by thieves in Michigan. And Local 4's crime and safety expert tells us that you might be able to ways you could prevent some car theft. Well, are you driving one of the most commonly stolen cars in Michigan? The National Insurance Crime Bureau is out with its list for the past year. Before we reveal them, though, there is some good news. Across the country, car thefts are down, dropping 23% in 2025. That is the lowest level in decades, and we're also seeing a similar trend in Michigan, theft down 22%. But it does appear thieves have a favorite target. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was the most stolen car here in the state of Michigan, with more than 1,200 thefts in 2025. And second, the Dodge Durango, followed by the Ram 1500, the Chevy Malibu, and the Dodge Charger. I have Darnell Blackburn here. I did notice 4 out of the 5 vehicles on that list are all Stellantis/Chrysler products.
Yes.
That's probably just a coincidence, though.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that the Cherokee has been on the list for a while. But here's the thing. Car companies make cars and they sell them.
Right.
After that, they're done.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just this is.
It's your job to vacuum it. Right?
Exactly. It's your job to vacuum it, to keep it clean, and hopefully not get it stolen.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not saying that they're making them easier, but thieves will come up with ways to steal your car.
Every single time, right?
The biggest thing from this type of conversation is to talk about hard targets versus soft targets.
Okay.
Leaving your keys in the car. I know it's self-explanatory.
Don't do that.
But I know people who work here because we have a secure parking garage attached to our place. And sometimes they leave their keys in the car, but people can get into secured parking.
Who is that? Name names.
I am not naming names, but we just had a conference. It wasn't the person I was just talking to that is directing us right now. It's not that person. But it was not. But we do this, but nothing is secured. So you have to think about that. Parking your car in a well-lit area. If it's at home, don't park your car on the street. If you got a driveway, park it in the driveway. If you don't have one, do park it under a street light. Park it in front of a camera of some kind. Thieves are so creative. I wish they would spend that time doing things productively.
Yeah, right,
but,
right.
You know, those are things that we can do because there's really not a lot that you can do to stop a person. Although we did have a conversation, you know, off camera at the start of this, talking about what's that thing
The
called?
club, the old school.
The old school club, and I mean that's a pretty good.
It works.
It works really good if it'll still fit these newer cars, and
Right.
you know,
Right.
Something like that is a good thing to do to try to prevent your car from being stolen.
And that really, from my understanding, is a better deterrent. I mean, if somebody were to break in and try to drive your car, they wouldn't be able to. But if they see that, they're not even going to try to break in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unless you have a wallet sitting on your, you know, on the seat or some coins, some money, something like that. Yeah, that's a very good deterrent, and it's something that can stop you. Really, that's what you can do more is just try to deter people by not leaving valuables in the car, not putting your car. I know some people who their cars are so precious to them, they park them, you know, on the back of a lot in a shopping mall or something like that. You know,
The chance of it getting stolen is better than getting dinged.
Bam. This is why I mess with you. I don't even have to say nothing. Look, you read my mind, Monticelli.
We're right there.
Right there,
We're
right
right
here.
there.
But yeah, it's important. And so really just to think about that. And now you saw the list.
Right.
Seeing that list, you may like one of these products, but if you know that you live in an area, you know, that
Becomes a target.
Yeah,
Right.
it could be an easier target. So
Yeah.
think about those.
You know, you talked about the hard versus soft targets. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you do leave your keys in or a wallet or whatever it might be, it becomes a crime of opportunity, right? So a lot of times, at least in my experience, and you know much more than I do, is that somebody might be walking by without the intent of smashing your window, but they see that and they go, well, there's probably $100 in there or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so limit those opportunities. You're right. There's people who have intent to do things, and there's people who are just, coincidentally, they find stuff, or they think they find it,
Right.
you know, but it's somebody else's. And so,
Yeah.
we just want to limit those things because in the end, ultimately, make sure you got insurance.
Yeah,
Make sure your
right,
stuff is
right.
that you're covered in case something happens. 'cause
And
don't
make
wanna
sure you
be-
talk to your insurance company to make sure you've got that right coverage.
Absolutely. We've talked about that a lot.
Okay, so most people, if they're living, in a subdivision or have their home, are parking in their driveway, right? That's just where you're going to park, unless you've got a garage, which is the safest place to do it. Is there anything I can do to prevent a theft right out in front of my own driveway?
Not necessarily. If somebody's going to take it, they're going to take it. Here's what I will say. I know oftentimes people may park in their driveway. They leave their garage door openers inside their cars.
Oh. Well, don't most people?
A lot of people do. Take it in every night. I know it may be a
So you can
hassle.
smash the window and then get inside.
Absolutely. Then they're in your garage.
Or in your home.
In your home if you leave that inner door unlocked. And so thinking about those are things that you have to think about as well. It's like, okay, not just monetary things that are valuable, but something like this, which is a tool to be able to get them access to your garage and possibly in your home.
Does bright lighting on the driveway help, or cameras? Are those a deterrent?
Absolutely, those are deterrents. Cameras, bright light, absolutely. Well-lit areas, cameras, but they may be somewhat of a deterrent. But if somebody wants to take it,
they want that charger.
They're going to try to get it.
All right, Darnell, thank you. The weather gradually warming up this week in the area, but that comes with the risk of severe weather on Thursday. Ashley has that forecast coming up after the break.
now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, here's a look at your out-the-door forecast on this Tuesday, which will be a bit more seasonal for this time of year. So increasing clouds as the day rolls on, but we have even warmer days ahead. So certainly improvement from yesterday, but we're going to tag on nearly 10 degrees every day through Thursday, and then the temperatures will fall drastically by the tail end of the work week. But that's because of some storm chances Thursday that then usher in a much colder air mass. Recapping, you can see all the different colors on the calendar indicating several below average days, more above average days though than below, with even a couple record-breaking days back on March 9th and 10th. And so yesterday did come in below average. Today will be a bit more seasonal, might look more like this, that gray, and then the days ahead through Thursday will be orange before we then fall back below average. So it's the roller coaster ride, and I mean, it's illustrated perfectly here with the next 7 days ahead, but at least those cold snaps are very short-lived. And so we've had high pressure throughout the morning, and that has brought us some clear skies, but that does get replaced with some cloud cover later in the day. 47 for the afternoon high, only 2 degrees shy of the average of 49, but it's a dry day, rather quiet. And so with the drier conditions, both today and tomorrow, great car washing days. Will be warmer tomorrow with a high of 58, and then we flirt with 70 on Thursday. But the red light Thursdays because of afternoon shower and storm potential. And so for today, some snow up north stays up north, and then we will be dry over the next about 48 hours. But going into Thursday, we have the chance for rain arriving at this point looking like mid-afternoon and sticking with us into the evening. Now this becomes much more robust just south of the state line late evening after sunset, snapshot at 11 p.m. Then on the back edge of this, as colder air starts to usher in, you might even see some of those little light sprinkles on the tail edge of this turn into a few wet snowflakes or a mix. That would be Friday morning before we then start to dry things out. But it is a rapid drop in temperatures come Friday. Our temperature setup for today, East Coast dealing with below average conditions, but a good chunk of the U.S. above average, and that's all coming off of that stronger high pressure down in the desert southwest, which in turn is bringing us near record heat once again throughout that portion of the country. Into the plains for today, about 15 to 25 degrees above average. But that warmth will push eastward heading into Wednesday. So thanks to that ridge and the jet stream, we will have above average conditions across the Great Lakes tomorrow. Let's talk more about Thursday because that's our next weather maker as mentioned, and we have a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather across southeast Michigan, but that slight level 2 risk just pushing just north of the state line, that could clip portions of Lenawee County. And so we will continue to keep a very close eye on how that system develops. If it pushes just 50 miles north, that would have a bigger impact on our southern communities. So we'll keep that chance for showers and storms in the forecast Thursday near 70. We fall to about 40 for the afternoon high on Friday. The 7-day forecast will continue to be a teeter-totter either side of 50 this weekend and near 60 again by Monday.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live. As always, so much more to come here on Local 4 and Local 4 Plus. My best friends, Tati and Kim from Live in the here. You got a good show today.
We do. We have
We're really
we have a great show every day.
Every day.
He was like, what are you trying to say? It's going to be a great show. I'm really excited. What do we got on tap?
Okay, so not that any of us are looking for a new job, but if we have friends
Hold on, let me take notes.
that are looking for a new job, have you ever heard of the coffee cup test?
Listen, only because I saw your promo and I saw that I'm like, what? I don't understand this.
So you Googled it. You Googled.
I didn't. I'm going to watch Live in the D.
Okay, perfect.
Watch Live in the D. We won't give it away, but it's something that you really want to know. I've had that done to me before.
At an interview.
At a job interview.
Wait, so can you tell me what like the test is without giving it away?
It's trying to see how conscientious you are and how thoughtful you are and how entitled you are. And hopefully you're not an entitled person. All from a coffee cup.
All, yeah, like are you your
Thoughtful?
cleanliness? Are you gonna clean up if they ask you for? Why don't we just say it?
Okay,
and then we'll
fine.
discuss it.
So you could tell them.
So if you are, at an interview and they give you would you like a cup of coffee? After the interview, if you just kind of like leave it there and you're like on your way, that sets a bad tone.
Right.
Oh.
So if you need to say like, oh, like where can I put this?
Sure. I'd love to wash this out before I leave.
Like a
Do you have a place?
self-initiative.
Absolutely. And even if it's a paper cup, you don't just leave it there. You're like, hey, I really need to throw this away. Where's an appropriate garbage can?
Now, what happens if you turn down the coffee?
Then you get the job.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed.
Then you just, they lost their chance to test you in that way. But I think it says a lot about a person if they leave stuff all over the place.
Yeah. What if they?
I'm judging.
What if they judge
So
you
this
by?
happened to you?
It happened to me. It sure did.
Really? Did you
It
know
sure did.
in the moment as it was happening?
I didn't, but afterwards, I was like, I felt played.
But you're a good person, so you cleaned it up.
I absolutely cleaned it up.
She was probably like, I need almond milk, I need it decaf. And they're probably like, she's difficult, let's not give her the job.
She doesn't need, we don't need
2
her
pumps
here.
of vanilla.
Yes,
Exactly.
1 stevia, lukewarm.
No, but it's going to be an interesting conversation. Of
Yeah.
course, much more on the show. Takeout Tuesday.
That's right, John Jordan.
That's right.
Gosh,
All right,
so
there's
much.
Thomas Surratt.
I know, there it is. Make it a great Tuesday, everybody. Make sure you tune in for Live in the D at 11 a.m.